Okay, here's this problem number two. Um, Again, we want to get the same denominator on both, so we've got to figure out kind of uh, what's the common multiple of all of these denominators, okay? 2m squared, m, and 2. And the common denominator is actually, I'm sorry, the common multiple is 2m squared. You can multiply the other ones and it becomes this. We don't actually have to touch this, but we can multiply these and get this on the bottom. So what do? Well, we want to get 2m squared, so we decide what do we need to multiply m by to get 2m squared, and it's 2m. Do that top and bottom. Okay. What do we need to multiply 2 by to get 2m squared? It's m squared top and bottom. So once we simplify that, we get uh, all of this, which hopefully you can recognize, and I won't talk too much about it, but you can look through and see what's going on there. Now what? Well, now we, since we have the same denominator on both of these, we can put 2m minus m squared just on the top and the single common denominator that it's got on the bottom. And how does that help us? Now we can multiply both sides by 2m squared. And I didn't write it here, but you can see that it will cancel out here and here with that top and bottom. And what you get then as a result is 1, what's here on top, equals 2m minus m squared here. Okay, we got to get it all to one side. And we could get it all to this side just by subtracting 1, but I like to have the leading coefficient on m squared positive, so I'm going to just add that to both sides. Okay, and when I add that to both sides and I simplify, putting them in order, because you want to put them in descending order in terms of um, their degree, their highest exponent. Okay, the m squared comes first, plus the 1. These cancel out because they're uh, inverse operations, and that was the point of doing it. Now we're going to do the same thing for 2m, subtract 2m from both sides so that we get 0 over here, and we'll put this in order, and we get that. Okay, and now that we have that, we're going to start at the top, and we're going to factor it. So coming back here, rewriting it on the top. If you know how to factor, what we're looking for is numbers that multiply to 1 and add together to be -2. And what are those numbers? -1 and -1. The only thing that you can get here to get 1 is 1 times 1 or -1 times -1. So which of those adds up to -2, -1, and -1? Okay, so you can FOIL that back together and check it. But since there's really only one term, this is m minus 1 squared, that binomial squared. But really what you're looking for is the solutions, what value of m makes it turn to 0. And so we only have to solve it once. We say m minus 1 equals 0, and then I add 1 to both sides, and we find that m is equal to 1. So shrinking that down for a full view of the whole problem. Oops. We get that right there. And hopefully that helps.